This box is f***ing cool. But having high quality labeled on a Nike product is kind of funny. Hey, what's good guys? My name's Chris. A lot of air in there. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today, we got a detailed look at these guys right here. This is an interesting shoe that I did not know was coming, but apparently they're really old as far as like release product goes. But these guys right here are the Nike Dunk 85. So just like the Air Jordan 1 85, Nike has decided to roll things back a little bit and recreate or recraft the popular Nike Dunk. So the box right here is not quite like the original Nike Dunk box based off of what I can see from this bad boy right here. I meant to, grab this for the Georgetown Air Jordan 185, but I just didn't. I grabbed every magazine but that, and then none of them were in the video, so it is what it is. But in this magazine, which is totally killer, it does show an original 1985 Nike Dunk box, and basically they looked like they were colored after the shoes. So I think this is supposed to give a 1980s flavor, but not be a complete like recreation of the original box. Like this to me looks like Polaroid. So to me, this thing just looks very familiar while being different at the same time, and that's exactly what these Dunks are supposed to be about. When I was looking up some information about them, because I had no idea that there was going to be a recrafted 1985 style Dunk. Apparently the press releases and stuff went out like 7 months ago. I don't know where the hell the shoes are, but we're just seeing them in stores now. So if you were interested in grabbing a pair of these and you're local to our area, which is the Sacramento area, make sure that you hit up Phenom. We'll leave their information down below in the description box and everything. But if you are local here, hopefully you know about them. If you don't, now you do. And you can go check them out. It's a cool shop. They do have a few of these left, by the way. They are selling. They're just not flying off shelves like the traditional, like simple style colored Dunks, which are my favorite. Now, as far as what actually has been recrafted, it's pretty much the entire shoe. I actually did get rid of, once I got those, what are they called? The black and yellow? Sorry, I keep brain farting on all the names. The Jordan 1. What's the black and yellow ones?
Pollen?
Thank you, man. But yes, I got rid of my Iowa Dunks once I got in those Jordan 1s, because if I were to wear the yellow one, I'd wear the ones over the Dunk. Not to say the Dunks are bad, it's just that if I was gonna choose one, I'm a Jordan guy, so that's what I'd do. So I don't have one of them to compare with these, but just holding them in hand and checking them out, like I can see very clearly the differences in these things. The first thing is obviously the shape. I don't like this, by the way. It's got a booty on there and it's very weird. It's this weird, I don't even know what to call it. It doesn't look right. What I think is interesting though, is that when I look up images, so like this one right over here of an actual original style Dunk, they're very similar to the Air Jordan 1 of the time, which is like straight up and down. But when I pull out this bad boy, which we're gonna take a sneak peek right now. When I open this guy up right here, no, these are not Dunks, but first off, look at that. I told you that those were original samples, man. Look at that. Aren't they pretty? All of these are. Whew, gosh, dang it. These are slick. But anyway, on this guy right here, this is the original Iowa Dunk. You can see right here that there is a small hump. It's just not huge. It's not as exaggerated as what we're seeing today. Oh, and look at, what a coincidence. The original Georgetown Jordan 1 from 85. Yeah, buddy. This magazine is so slick. There's some cool in here. And I'm not gonna show you everything because I wanna save that for perhaps another video, but here is an example of some of those original boxes. So right down there, like this guy right here that looks like an Air Jordan 1 box, that is actually the Iowa box for the Dunk of that year. But the Air Jordan 1 box did look just like that. So I think just like the 85 cut Air Jordan 1, it's gonna depend on what Dunk you're looking at. And I don't know if the Dunks of the time were made just like the 85 Air Jordan 1, where there was multiple factories. So like every one of them is a little bit different, whether that be in the collar, the heel, the toe, whatever it is, something's different. It's because there's probably a different manufacturer, so they don't look all the same. Now, if we're moving down to the outsole right here, this guy right here looks very vintage. It's really cool. It's very beefy on top of that. Everything is very exaggerated. It's not identical to the originals, but it's damn close. The stars are the main thing that I can see are like really pronounced. The current or modern Dunks don't have stars like this. Well, they do have stars, they just don't have them like this, where they're really protruding out of the outsole. And I think this looks really cool. Very slim, by the way. This is very similar to what's on the 85 cut Jordan 1, which I think is interesting. But then when you move everything around like this midsole is a chunky beast, man. This is a big boy.
That's what she said.
Not like these. These are much slimmer, much more tapered. This thing is damn near like an Air Force One. Like, it's really weird. Now, the midsole itself is the same as the outsole, so it's one big old piece of rubber. It's a cup sole. They are stitched on just like a traditional 1985 Dunk or a modern Dunk, and an Air Force One, an Air Jordan 1, and so on and so forth. And then one thing that you need to know about the Dunk is that there is no air in there, so this is just a Nike Dunk. There's no Nike Air Dunk, no Nike Zoom Dunk. When you look at the tongue tabs, it just says Nike on there. It doesn't say Nike Air or anything like that because there is no tech in the shoe. However, the step-in comfort is actually quite nice because there is a dual density Ortholite insole. Is it still a cheap piece of shit? Overall, yes, it's not gonna last very long, but it gives you a lot of step-in comfort right from the jump. It will pack down or bottom out really quickly because it is an open-celled foam, which you can actually see. Like, you can see all the little craters, the nooks and crannies. What are those things called? It's like
the English muffin?
Yeah, it's like the English muffin of insoles, you know what I mean? Like, there's just all kinds of nooks and crannies in there and stuff, and that's what an Ortholite kind of is. If you needed a visual representation as to why they bottom out, because all those little nooks and crannies, when you start stepping on them, start flattening out, and they turn to nothing.
They're catching all your flavor.
Oh yeah. that was a weird joke. Now, the upper on these guys is actually quite nice. I wouldn't consider it premium. I wouldn't consider it high quality, even though, like I was saying before, when you compare these to the modern Dunk, like all the kind of like vintage looking ones where they're very simple color blockings, like the original joints, these are high quality compared to that, but they're not high quality. It's a nice, soft, thin leather cuts. I do like it. It's just not, it's not premium. So it is what it is. At 130 bucks, I guess you can't expect too much from them. Most of that money went towards the box. And quite possibly these extra laces. But they couldn't afford bags, they're just there. But yes, they do come with 3 sets of laces. I don't know why it comes with 2 of the same damn color. You couldn't come with orange or sail or cream. You know, it's like, why is there 2 blues? Unless I got an error pair, I don't know. But yeah, I just think it's very weird. By the way, if you're wondering why the upper looks like this, it's because they're trying to mimic 80s tie-dye. I know, I literally read that from like the UK Nike site. I
thought it was supposed to look like they'd been scuffed, like they were those cool Jordan 1s, New York City to...
Yeah, it's not that.
No?
Mm-mm. Maybe if you didn't know what you were doing when you were tie-dyeing, like this is how your tie-dye stuff would come out in the 80s, but like this is not like 80s tie-dye. There are 4 colorways that I've seen, by the way. This is the first one I've seen touch down here in the US, but again, overseas, they've been available apparently, so the other colorways we could show right here. So in addition to this one, there's these guys right there. The tongue is quite interesting though. It is not quite nylon. It almost feels like a canvas material, and then behind it, it looks like corduroy, even though it's not. But I do think it's interesting. I don't think this is the way that the originals were. Same thing with the liner. Now in the product description of the shoe, it does say that they were, it's a little confusing actually, that they were recrafted or made to look exactly like the vintage or original version, but then they were also modified for comfort. And so I'm kind of like, so what was the modification? Is it the weird shape? Is it the tongue? Is it the softer leather? What exactly was modified? Maybe it's the extra padding and all that stuff, because these are really chunky right here in the back, even though I thought that the originals had lots of padding too. It was not like the Air Jordan 1. The Air Jordan 1 was the premium offering along with the Air Force 1, whereas the Dunk was kind of like the lower budget team model. So a lot of schools would wear this shoe instead of those other ones, even though a lot of schools wore the Air Jordan 1 too. There was a ton of colorways, like all of those metallics and all that stuff. That's kind of what they were all about. Now, as far as sizing is concerned, believe it or not, these actually fit mad snug. A lot of people with the regular Dunks, they either go true to size or down half a size. These are up half a size and they're very tight as is. I'm traditionally a 9, these are a 9.5. I don't know if it's the recrafted shape, the weird hump thing. This reminds me of those women's wedge shoes. Like that's what this looks like this is supposed to be like lifted or whatever. It just looks weird. So they fit small, in my opinion. If I were to recommend a size, I would say go up half a size and you should be good. They are very narrow on top of that. They will need to be broken in because that's how the 85 Jordan 1s are too. They're built on a different last than the stuff that we're used to. Look at how thin this is, you know? It's not like a normal Dunk, even though those are pretty narrow too. So what do you think about these? Is this, don't think about the color. Just,
it's very hard for me to get past because it literally looks like in 1985, this shoe got locked in a room with like 15 smokers and just got let out.
You know, that reminds me, we used to, like I used to manage properties before like we did this full time.
Apartments.
Yes.
Not like commercial properties. I worked in commercial. commercial properties though.
Yes, and I had to move out somebody one time, and she was a heavy smoker. She was a very nice lady. You know, there was like tar and nicotine like literally dripping off of, and I'm not exaggerating either, like she smoked inside. She was from overseas, so it was normal for her. It's a little different, like, you know, like in the 80s, like we live in a weird time where it's like we remember going into restaurants and there was smoking allowed, and then there was smoking sections, and then there were no smoking allowed at all. And so like we grew up through like all of that, and her apartment inside looked like this color everywhere, with this color dripping everywhere from all the fixtures because of all the weird tar and nicotine that's inside of the, you know, the cigarettes and everything. And you can see where things were hung up because the walls were perfect.
Yeah.
Right behind there. So yeah, that just gave me a weird flashback. It has nothing to do with anything, but there you go.
Cool.
Yeah. So anyways, I think that these are quite nice for what they are. I think the shape is way off, personally. Like if I were to recraft the 85, it would be the straight up and down version, not this weird humped version. I do love the giant swoosh though. I wish that they would put this on the Jordan 1s and everything like that. I do like the leather on top of that. It's a little shiny. I don't know if it peels off. It feels like it might. I don't know if that's intentional or what, but whatever the case may be, I think they're an interesting shoe.
And they go great with your shirt.
No, they don't. They would ruin. This shirt is so epic that you have to match this perfectly if you're going to do that.
You got some orange. You got the blue.
Nope.
You got some peach color.
This is issue 1 of X-Men from the 60s, not even from the 80s. We're talking about 1963. This is so dope. You can't ruin this with that.
Okay.
You just can't. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the support. I got this at Target, by the way, if you guys are interested. It was like 16 bucks.
But they're not at every Target.
They're not, so go onto the app. I'm sure that they're on there. The app is weird. But thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the support. Again, if you were interested in these, I don't know where they are everywhere. I just know where they are here, where we live in Sacramento. So go to Phenom if you wanted a pair. And again, thank you so much for everything. And until next time, guys, have a good one.